Let's talk about some of the defensive changes. And I know that we've had the conversation in one way or another, but I want to change it up a little bit. We've talked about, is the defense better? Is the offense better? Is the team better? And we've talked about individual moves and kind of come up with our thoughts on this. I want to go change for change on the defense, though, because there's, quite frankly, we might have 5 different starters when this season starts compared to what you had with the Super Bowl and who played in the Super Bowl. So with that being said, I think we need to go position by position, see if we feel like it's an upgrade or a downgrade, and then come up with our overall opinion on, do we think this defense is better? So we're going to start with the safety position.
Before we start,
yeah,
I just want to say I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself. Okay, no, sorry.
It's a good day. It was a good day.
See no changes.
It's great.
Sorry.
It's great.
Let's get serious.
No. Let's not get serious. All right, Let's get serious.
Safety.
Tayshaun Gibson, no longer a part of this team. As of now, he could always come back. You never know.
Sure.
Presumably, Malik Mustafa might start. I think the safe pick is to go with Talanoa Hufanga. He's proven in this league. He's coming back from an injury. You don't think so? The face?
I mean, I would think that Talanoa would start if he were healthy.
Okay,
I would think so.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of people counting him out. I'm a big Talanoa Hufanga fan.
I am too. There's questions. There's definitely questions, but I think we can presume it's going to be him. So,
all right.
Tayshaun Gibson, starter in the Super Bowl. Talanoa coming back off of an injury. You think this is an upgrade, downgrade, or do we stay flat with this move?
I think Talanoa Hufanga is the most underrated player on the team.
Okay.
I think him coming back is huge. I don't know what condition he'll be in, but assuming he makes a full recovery, I think they're way better with him on the field. I know he can be a little bit of a liability as a deep coverage player, but in the box, he's a total playmaker, and he's made plays in deep coverage as well. I read Pro Football Focus did an article, I don't know if it was like ranking the best rosters in the league or what it was, but they said according to them, when Talanoa Hufanga was on the field, the Niners had the number 1 graded defense, and then when he got hurt, they slipped to 14th PFF grade. So I think he's really important, and him coming back should really help their run defense, their entire defense.
I think so as well. I love what Tayshaun did. I think that he's really good. Right place, right time, and you got to give him credit for that. Those picks don't happen by happenstance every time. Some are luck, but he's a pro. He knows where to be, and he's always going to be in the right spot. Now, Talanoa is different. He's not always going to be in the right spot. He is going to blow some coverages and some big plays, but because he plays that way, he's also going to make some really big plays. I am concerned coming off of a major injury, but an ACL is not necessarily an Achilles. I think he can overcome this one. Modern medicine's amazing. Tayshaun Gibson's also a year older. It's not like he's young or spry, so there's no guarantee he would come back and even be what he was last year. I think he made a little bit of a dip last year, if we're being honest. So I'm going to agree with you. I think Talanoa Hufanga is an upgrade over Gibson at this point.
As far as Talanoa goes, he was undoubtedly better under D'Amico than under Steve Wilks. There was something different about Talanoa last year, and they didn't talk about it until recently. But Talanoa and John Lynch, I think, both talked about it. Like, he wasn't playing on instinct last year. Talanoa is a playmaker who needs to play on instinct. And when he does, he'll give up some plays, but he'll make more than he gives up. And last year, I guess, I don't know if Steve Wilks didn't trust him or Talanoa was trying to impress him or ingratiate himself with him, but he was trying to play the call more than he was playing his instincts. And he has to do the instinct thing because that's who he is. Has to.
I agree.
And you have to have a coach who believes in him.
I agree with that. Okay, so upgrade there. Next one. And I put him on here. I didn't want to. I'm hoping he comes back at some point, but we don't know if he'll be the same and when he's coming back. But we do know he's not going to start the season. That almost seems pretty much as a done deal at this point. So Dre Greenlaw started the Super Bowl, did not finish the Super Bowl, unfortunately. He is being replaced by Devondre Campbell. We agree this is a major downgrade, right?
Terrible. But I'm a positive person. I like to look for the silver linings here.
That's true.
And
That's what your channel is built on.
that's what I built the
agree.
whole thing on. It's my brand. Okay,
Yeah.
Devondre Campbell, obviously downgrade, sure. But D. Winters, Jalen Graham, those two guys, very interesting. The Niners have a history of developing late round linebackers. And D. Winters didn't do much his rookie year, but comes back this year. Fred Warner says he's the most improved player on the team. That's huge. And I saw it too. I mean, he looks really athletic. He looks like he's in great shape. His body has been totally transformed. If that guy can do a Dre Greenlaw impression, then when Greenlaw comes back, they're better. So a lot depends on Winters or maybe Graham.
I'm with you. One thing that Fred Warner said was that Winters was the best player in the OTAs and the mini camps. And the last time he talked about a player like this, it was Jawan Jennings, who turned out to be pretty good. So
Fred Warner wouldn't just
he's
say
on
some
to
stuff.
something. No, he won't. He won't.
That's really good news coming out of OTAs because I have a tough time evaluating linebackers when there's no tackling. So thank you, Fred, for doing it for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I put Devondre Campbell as the starter, but he may not be the starter. And maybe
he may not be the starter. Yeah.
Maybe they got
something.
It's
like he's 32. Flanagan Foles is a special teams player. If D. Winters is good, there's nothing to stop him.
Yeah. Yeah.
If Fred Warner co-signs him, let's go.
I mean, listen, I think people were worried when Greenlaw went down and then Azeez had to come in, and we saw that turned out pretty good. Azeez ended up being a pretty good player. So,
Dude, Azeez is such a good player.
So good. He's on the Texans.
That whole Javon Hargrave trade-ish type of deal, whatever that was, like letting a bunch of guys go so they could get terrible. Just awful.
Yeah.
Imagine if they still had Samson Ebukam and Azeez El-Shaair.
Oh, that'd be nice right now. That'd be real nice.
Yeah.
Such is life. You don't always. Yeah, I know. You don't always make the right decisions. Okay. I think no matter what, though, even if we want to be optimistic, we have to say it's a downgrade at this point. How big? We don't know, but it's definitely. I mean, Dre Greenlaw.
I'm an optimist, but even I can admit that this is probably a downgrade on paper. On paper.
But you think it might be an upgrade because you're optimistic. I see where you're going. All right.
I live my life. You can't walk around the golf course telling yourself you suck, even though you miss most of your shots. You know what I'm saying? You got to have this stupid positive mindset, and it's rubbing off in the rest of my life.
That's true. I like it. That's good. Good. I see under 100 is coming very soon. Once you get that driver back, it's over for that course.
Well, I played on Tuesday and I gave myself a 99, but I had at least 12 mulligans. So I don't think that was legit 99. I don't think it was.
Well, you keep wearing those cuts, man. You'll be good to go. All right. Let's talk about Arik Armstead. And I think this one's could be a little controversial, right? Because Arik Armstead does miss time. Certainly, I think we can all agree, maybe a little bit overpaid. Was paid like a defensive end, but he had to move inside. That being said, one thing we do know is that he always showed up in the playoffs. He always seemed to play his best football when it mattered the most. He did that, I believe, again this last year, and he did play in the Super Bowl. He's no longer playing for the 49ers, but they do have Malik Collins, who I also think is pretty underrated. I think he can be a good player as well. Is this an upgrade, downgrade, or are we even on this one?
It's a downgrade. Now, they gave themselves some financial flexibility, but Malik Collins knows he's not as good as Arik Armstead. He knows that. So it's a downgrade. Now, if Arik Armstead gets hurt and misses the whole season, then the Niners dodged a bullet. And I think they made the right move here. But nah, it ain't Malik Collins ain't the replacement. He's a temporary Band-Aid until they get someone else.
I think you can make the argument for the regular season it might be an upgrade because he'll be healthier. But for the playoffs,
he might play hard
and trying to win a Super Bowl, I think it's a downgrade. Because again, Arik was always there for the playoffs and he always played well.
So this is now I can say how I really feel about Arik because he's not on the team anymore. So Arik was the best player on the field when he wanted to be, which was
Mm,
like a few times a year,
it's true.
which is pretty frustrating. And I think what was crazy about that 2019 season when it was his contract year, he did it like every week. He was so good. And then he got paid and he went back to doing that thing where he does it like 3 or 4 times a year. So, yeah, I mean, better to not have a guy like that on your team. It doesn't really help the culture.
Yeah. Yeah, but then, people said he was a leader too. I don't know. I'm gonna go slight downgrade, but I don't think it's as maybe it's as I don't know. This one's tough. This one's tough for me. I go back and forth on this one because I do think Arik was a good player. I also think he was overpaid. So I
But
think
he was a leader, right? And he was pacing himself, and so was the rest of the team. So maybe that wasn't the leadership they needed,
yeah, that could be true.
you
That
know?
could be true.
Yeah.
That could be true. Okay. Chase Young, no longer a part of this team.
Upgrade.
Hell of a talent. I can't even sell this one. Leonard Floyd's a major upgrade over Chase Young. Major upgrade over Chase Young. This right here is the biggest upgrade, I think.
I think it's funny to go back and look at all the articles that were written about Chase Young when the Niners traded for him. Like, oh man, this is just a cheat code. What was Washington thinking? Like, I think Washington knows who Chase Young is. I think that's what they're thinking, and now the Niners do. And yeah, he was just awful. He really didn't.
Sure
You
did
couldn't
look
motivate
smart
him
though, didn't he?
whatsoever. He didn't seem like he cared whatsoever. I don't know. It's like, hey man, it's a contract year, and you're going to the Super Bowl. Does that do anything for you? Nah. Leonard Floyd. You know, it's crazy. He had the same amount of sacks as Bosa last year. How about that?
Mhm. He's good.
So
He's really good. And he's done it
that
on
really
multiple
shows what
teams.
Bosa needs to do to earn that contract, man. Like 10 and a half sacks, you can get that on the free agent market. You're supposed to have 16.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Leonard Floyd's done it on multiple teams and multiple schemes. That's what I love most about him. And he's the closest thing that the 49ers have had to D Ford since D Ford, which I think, and it was a small sample size, but when there was D Ford opposite of even rookie Bosa, that's when the pass rush was at its best. I think Bosa, year 5 now? Leonard Floyd, like this is it right here. This could be massive.
Floyd's different than Ford too. Like Ford was what 6'2", 250, explosive but compact. Floyd's like 6'5", 240. He's so angular and long, and it's quite enjoyable watching him do his job against Colton Kivitz.
Does he, in this, I mean, obviously we know this doesn't necessarily translate, but when you first saw Chase Young, a lot of people wrote about, oh, just physically. I mean, he's just look at him. And people got so excited over what he looked like in
He's so
pads.
tall.
Yeah. Is Leonard Floyd as physically impressive to you as Chase Young or more so?
He's just as tall as Chase Young. He's probably 30 pounds lighter. Like Chase Young seemed a little chunky.
Thick. Yeah.
Leonard Floyd is in phenomenal shape. He looks like he has 6% body fat. Leonard Floyd is going to be really good on this team.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Good. I am too. Yeah. I am too. That's great.
So is Colton Kivitz.
All right. Okay. All right. I feel like you're talking that one into existence.
Colton.
All right. Ambry Thomas. He could still technically start, but I don't think he will. And there's multiple options. We could go with Isaac Yiadom. We could go with the rookie Renardo Green. We could go with Rock Ya-Sin. I'm going to go with Renardo Green. I think either whether he starts at the nickel corner spot and then, maybe they move Demo outside or vice versa. I think Green's going to find his way onto the field. So, Ambry Thomas, Renardo Green. Is this an upgrade? Are we flat or is this a downgrade?
I like Renardo Green. Here's what I see from him. Here's how I judge corners. I feel like it's easier to judge corners and wide receivers in these practices. Is the corner trying to break up passes? Is he being aggressive? Or is he trying to not give up big plays? And is he hanging on? Isaac Yiadom, Ambry Thomas, Samuel Womack, they're trying to not give up big plays. Renardo Green is trying to break up passes. And oftentimes he does. Other times he gets called for flags, but he's right there. And they haven't had a guy like that since Jimmy Ward left, frankly. He's a little Jimmy Ward-esque. So I like him, and I think they've improved.
I think so too. I mean, he played very well against Neighbors and Pearsall. That's two legit first round receivers right there. He did a phenomenal job. So I think it's going to translate. I think it's going to now he might be a little
He might get
handsy,
some
might get
flags
some
early
penalties.
on before
Yeah.
he has a name for himself. People might say, "Hey, who the hell are you? Who do you think you are playing defense like this?" But that's all right. You want an aggressive corner.
I like Ambry probably more than most, but he's never going to be special in this league. I think Renardo could be a true number one corner in this league, and Ambry just doesn't have that ceiling. And Ambry may not get the penalties, but he's just not great at tracking the ball when it's in the air either. I mean, and it's not even from an interception standpoint; it's just from not getting moss standpoint, even though you're in position. And I feel like that's never really improved for him. So I'll take my chance with Renardo Green. I think it's an upgrade as well.
I don't know if he can be a number one corner, although I don't know even what that even means. Like, I think if he were just a nickel and he was a great nickel, like that's such an asset. Like Devin Witherspoon, Trent McDuffie, if he could be that kind of a player for the 49ers, wow. What a second round pick that would be. And I'm not sure compare his combine numbers to Devin Witherspoon, who was the 5th pick in the draft. Is a freaking stud. I'm not saying he's that good, but
Yeah.
I think they're sort of hoping he's in that ballpark.
This is so good, man.
So good.
Golly. What I like about Green, though, is the same thing that I like about Demo. There's versatility and injuries happen. And when injuries happen in the secondary, if you have multiple guys that can play multiple positions, it really makes your life a lot easier. A lot
That's
easier
why I
when you're
feel
trying to
like
find a
he's gonna
replacement.
replace Demo next year because Demo is probably gonna get 10, 11, $12 million, and the Niners may not have it for him, and they have someone similar.
I'd really try to pay Demo now. I would keep Demo over Charvarius. Charvarius at this point is still better, but he's more expensive and he's older. I'd rather keep
You
the
know the
youth.
cornerback market's the next one to blow up. Someone's gotta cover these wide receivers. If the wide receivers are getting 30, cornerbacks are gonna be getting 25 pretty soon.
Wait till Sauce and Sertan and these guys get paid. It's going to be
Thank
insane.
you.
Okay, we've gone through all the positions that are likely going to change this season. After doing that, do you feel like the defense is the same, better, or worse than it was entering the Super Bowl last year? This one's tough. This one's tough.
Like week 1, not better.
Okay.
Is that fair to say? Like week 1, no. But
Totally fair. Yeah.
like in the playoffs, they might be better. If Talanoa's back, Greenlaw's back, Winters is a player, Green is a player. Like this defense could build into something that was much better than it was by the end last year. How about that?
I'm with you. I think that's the best way to say it. I agree with you. I think you've got a lot of young players. You got players coming working back from injury. You've got new
And a first
players.
year
You got a new
coordinator.
coach. New coach.
Yep.
There could be some growing pains, but I think by the time you get 9, 10, 11 weeks in, this defense could really hit its stride and do some special things. So I agree with you. I think it's a great way to put it. Nice.
Yep. Their secondary should be loaded. I mean, in the last year, they just never had a third corner. There was always someone you could pick on in this secondary. I don't think it's going to be like that this year. And that their pass rush should be better. I mean, with Talanoa in the field, their run defense is going to be better. I mean, a lot just comes down to the Brandon Staley, Nick Sorensen brain trust. And as long as, I mean, they should be fine. They should be good. I'm not betting against this defense. It's the best part of the team. It always has been.
Yeah. And I think if we made the same exercise on the offense, most of the names are going to be the same. But, I can make an argument that Trent Williams might not be as good as he was last year. So I'd probably say downgrade there. I would say Brock Purdy's an upgrade over himself from a year ago, So you could do the similar thing on the offense and come away with some interesting things as well. But we're not doing that today. We do both agree, though, that the defense come playoff time could be really, really something special. And there's more depth on this defense, which is important, very important. So
the Niners need to embrace this defense. I mean, that's what won the Super Bowl for the Chiefs. Niners offense is never going to get it done with that puny little offensive line. Sorry, that's a complimentary offensive line. You got to win with defense over here. And maybe they got it back. I mean, last year, such an issue for their defense was just playing hard. It was ridiculous.
It's
Maybe
so
that's not an
stupid.
issue anymore now that Armstead and Chase Young are gone. It won't be an issue for
I
D.
can't
Winters. It
believe
won't be an issue for Talanoa Hufanga.
no.
Won't be an
No.
issue for Leonard Floyd.
I can't believe that was a thing in the NFC Championship game of all games from a guy who wanted to get paid. It's like, dude, this is the best we're ever going to get from you. I'm so glad they let Chase walk.